Hey gamers.
Alright. Um,
Uh,
so for this
This is our
video, yeah, so for
we're
this
gonna
video, we're just gonna we're gonna talk about our teams like as an in an individual level. In the last video, we like talked about them a little bit. Uh, but this was a like really nice season, so I want to talk about it. Well, at least for me. I don't know how Frubblez thinks about this season. um, uh, I do want to go over these Pokemons one by one.
do
So
we want to go bottom to top as we build up to a good Pokemon?
no, we should go over by like our thought process over drafting them in the first place and
Okay,
stuff. So
fine. That's fair. That's actually fair.
yeah.
All right. Um, should we do both of our teams at once or should we alternate? I mean,
Um,
one team at a time or alternate?
one at a time. One at a time.
One time. Okay. I'll go first since I'm on the left, I guess. Um, so I went into this and I'm like, I want Ogre Pond Water. Ogre Pond Water is the best Pokemon ever, and I need it. And
You
actually,
you begged.
begged someone to give me Ogre Pond water, and they were like, "Okay, sure," and I got it.
Okay, okay, you can take it. Jeez.
And I got my Ogre Pond water.
Beloved.
Manana is what I named her.
Mm-hmm.
She did pretty well. Probably one of the better Pokemon on my team.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Don't worry, I'll like show it on the screen, like their stats.
I just think I thought it was. Oh no, it probably is more versatile. I drafted it with the idea that it was going to be the most versatile thing you've ever seen, but in reality, most of the time, I just ended up running max speed, 3 attack sword stance, or like 4 attacks,
I think
or
you
3 attack spikes.
didn't draft the correct teammates for it to be you for it to be like a
Versatile,
fast encore user, fast spike setter, like all those things.
or even I was even like imagining it as a defensive Pokemon because when it tears, it gets +1 defense, and you could run like a bulky synthesis set
Special defense. But yeah.
invested. Yeah, and I just kind of and don't get me wrong, it did that Swords Dance set amazingly. 10 out of 10 would draft again, but it was also countered by grass types and dragon types,
Mhm.
and often I needed to use U-turn as a coverage move, which would get rid of my Swords Dance boost. So
Yeah. Honestly, Weavile was a really good partner because of that, but let's go into that later. Um,
um, next
I
is Raging Ball.
yeah.
Yeah, I think Ogre Pond was good, but I need more practice with it, and I could have just drafted Ogre Pond Fire. Even though Ogre Pond Fire is like Terra Band, it's just better offensively. Like that type is really good offensively.
Hmm.
Anyway, so Raging Bolt, um, this thing's good. I did not use it well. I talked about this a bit before, but it kind of has just a reliance on Sucker Punch, and that is worse in draft because your opponent can bring Substitute on any random Pokemon and put you at an awful position.
Yeah.
Um, I think I over expected opponents to just bring Substitute on every Pokemon that beat Bolt or
Yeah.
lost to Bolt, that is.
That
And I
yeah.
psyched myself out with that. Um,
I there were
so
so many moments in this season where you should have just clicked Thunderclap.
clicked Thunderclap and I didn't. So that's something I need to work on for sure. I also I know this Pokemon is good. Um, I could draft it on a Sun team. It'd be very good on a Sun team.
But then you
Um,
would be not drafting Walking Wake. And as we
no,
all
you
know,
always draft Wake. You
yeah,
just double dragon.
you
You
double
have
dragon.
to draft Walking Wake. No, whenever I talk about drafting anything on a Sun team, it's automatically assuming you drafted Walking Wake. Or you got
Because
sniped and you already committed to Torkoal.
round one.
Yeah, you get sniped round one after you pick Torkoal first. That thing doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Yeah, no, you drafted Torkoal round one and then someone else
And
picks.
not.
Wait, that's fucked up on both ends. That's fucked up on both ends. The person
So
drafting Torkoal round one is fucked up for obvious reasons, but the guy picking Walking Wake when Torkoal is already picked is also equally fucked up.
obviously they were going for 9 kills.
Or the superior Sunsetter Mega Charizard Y.
or Koraidon.
Or Koraidon, obviously. Um,
Um, but the point is, Raging Bolt's a good Pokemon. It only has Dual Stab, but that's all it needs.
no, it really
Because
is.
the only Pokemon that resist its Dual Stab are ground steals like Excadrill, Iron Treads, Mega Steelix, or
Ground
Ferrothorn.
fairies. And Ferrothorn, yeah.
Ground fairies don't exist.
Yeah, okay, but like in the future. Because
In the future,
I'm
sorry.
sure they're making one.
Oh yeah, in the future it will be. I'm talking right now. That's all it needs.
Yeah.
It's just really strong, really bulky. I like it. Need to do better. Anyways, Weavile.
Really
Weavile
nice
good.
with... Yeah, Weavile good. It was good for how many gens? And it is still good. No
It's
longer
been good since Gen 6.
no longer top 5 in OU. But
No.
you know, you live and you learn. I already said that before.
This? Yeah. You better start playing like the Sonic Adventure song. Every time you say it now, it's a penalty.
No.
It works well with Ogerpon, like quite a bit actually.
Yes, the two, the Dark Ice and Water Grass help each other so much. And Weavile is just really strong. Like, it's the damage difference between it and Shanpao is not that big when you account that Weavile has stronger moves than Triple Axle and Knockoff.
Yeah.
Compared to Icicle Crash and Crunch.
Mm-hmm.
The main thing though,
yeah, go
that
ahead.
I think Weavile is still really good. But its biggest disadvantage is how many items it wants to run, and it really can't run all of them.
Mm-hmm.
It wants boots because it's an ice type.
Yeah, it wants protective pads because Rocky Helmet.
It wants protective pads and triple axle.
Yeah.
And it wants choice band, and it wants like some kind of resist berry sometime. It just usually it's boots or
choice band,
protective pads.
Oh yeah.
Because your opponents are always preparing for Weavile. And it's just really weird to be pseudo item locked like that.
It's weird. I'm sure if you got...
But it's a good Pokemon.
Yeah. I think if you had better removal, you could have brought other items more times.
Yes. But no, I feel like it would still just be protective pads then. Expecting a Rocky Helmet.
Yeah. Maybe.
Obviously, the trick is to bring a bunch of knockoff users, but Weavile is your knockoff user, so...
Next is Salazzle.
Salazzle? Great Pokemon. I think I've drafted it before. I don't remember if I have.
I feel like you have.
I might have not. Okay, I think I have. But, like... This Pokemon is amazing.
Yeah.
Would draft again. Unironically, half the reason I got this is because it's 1 point faster than Iron Valiant and Oko's it.
Did you fight Iron Valiant? No.
I'm not even sure if I did.
I don't think you did. I don't remember you fighting an Iron Valiant. But that's really funny.
The other half is because Toxic Salazzle is the greatest hedge in all of Pokemon.
Corrosion is ridiculous.
Corrosion is such a good ability that, like, you even see Glamora's run it in draft. Actually, I had Glamora, and I brought Corrosion on, like, 2 or 3 occasions.
You brought it 2 times. I remember this. I fought a Glamora, like, in a different league, and it ran Corrosion, and it, like, completely beat me. Like, I lost almost, like a large part of my loss was because of Corrosion Glamora.
It's because Toxic is an extremely powerful status condition that's balanced around the fact that 2 types just blanket. When you start being able to poison those 2 types, it's over. Yeah. Salazzle's really good. You can also run an offensive set with like Scarf or Nasty Plot, but I think the best way to run it is to always have Toxic. Even if you're running Scarf, run Toxic. If you're running Fast Attacker, run Toxic. The Toxic is just such a good move. And also the Dual Stab is pretty good because it is Beta Iron Moss. So I like that a lot.
This
Diancie. I like Diancie a lot, honestly, I think my biggest mistake is that Diancie was a Terra captain. And like making it the Terra captain was the correct decision, but also it made me feel like I needed to Terra every time, which reduced Ogerpon's potential.
Mm-hmm. But also like,
Diancie is an go ahead.
but also like, what else were you gonna Terra cap?
Yeah, Miss Magius. Anyway, Diancie, really good. Spikes this generation, or Spikes it last generation. Mystical Fire, it has um Iron Defense Body Press on steroids with Diamond Storm.
It does Earth Power.
Earth Power, Mystical Fire. It has the move it wants. It's just kind of a really good budget fairy. It's bulky.
It's slow. It's slow. I don't know what to tell you. It's slow.
Slow. It's very slow. But it's also like a bulky rock type, and those are a little bit underrated in draft. Gives you a flying resist, gives you a fire resist,
Mm-hmm.
gives you a normal resist. I like Diancie a lot. Maybe not on this team. Mm-hmm. I think Diancie is the first one that
Mm-hmm.
starts to like make this team fall apart a little bit.
Okay, but not the next one.
Quaquaval?
The absolute goat.
Goat? Oh my god. Quaquaval?
You were very hesitant on grabbing Quaquaval.
I was so hesitant. And then I started using it. I'm like, oh my god, this is the greatest Pokemon ever. Okay, I stopped saying the nicknames for it, but I need to mention what Quaquaval's nickname was. Because it was Sir Snacks. Because this man is Snacks. Look at him.
Anyway, so
Anyway,
yeah, this just fully grown gay man in a duck suit. You know, before this draft started, I'm not even joking, I thought Aqua Set was like 50 base power or something. I thought like...
That was Trailblaze?
Yeah, I thought it was Trailblaze. No, it's 80 base power. It's...
No, they gave the starters the most broken moves this gen. Yes, why don't we give one of them one that always crits, one of them that speed boosts, and one of them that special attack boosts? What could go wrong?
What could go wrong? It falls to you.
The special attack boosting one is also a sound move. Jesus.
Yeah. What happens is that it falls to Yu.
It does fall to Yu. Anyway. Unironically, I think this is a better pair with Ogerpon than Weavile was. Because the double water offense, like so many times I faced opponents of like, oh, you can just use Quaquaval plus Ogerpon. They can't handle both of them because both of their secondary stabs can cover what typically resists water. Sometimes.
And Quaquaval has an Ice Spinner for dragons.
Or Triple Axle if you're a gamer.
Or Triple Axle if you're fucking insane.
Yeah.
Or you need the damage, I guess.
And also, along with that ice coverage, it also has Brave Bird if you want to hit grass types that Ogerpon struggles with. So that's really good.
Brave Bird is a ridiculous move.
And also, it gets to Dragon Dance when it kills something with Aqua Step. So, this is a good Pokemon. Also, I didn't even mention the times I use it as a utility support mon with a lot of bulk, Roost, Rapid Spin, U-Turn.
Yeah.
That's a really good set as well. This thing is versatile.
This thing is very good.
And it's just... This is probably the Pokemon whose opinion I've raised the most on.
Yeah.
Miss Magius? I think Miss Magius was brought to one game, and that game was a fourth. No, I brought it.
No, it killed itself. Right?
It killed it. I remember. Yeah, it Destiny bonded.
Yeah. Okay, it didn't kill itself. It Destiny bonded, not kill. It did not use Memento.
No, Memento. I think Miss Magius sure is there. I think it sure gives you a ground immunity and a 105 speed tier. And a spin blocker.
It sure
does.
It sure was a ground immunity, a spin blocker, a 105 speed stat Pokemon. Anyway, Xatu.
Unironically, Miss Magius gets so much out of Terra Captain that like I've used it as a Terra Captain before, and it gets so much better.
You have?
But without it, it's just there. Yeah, I did it on my Iron Valiant team.
Right. I remember now. That team was stupid.
Anyway.
Xatu.
Xatu came once, and I did win that game.
So automatically the most winningest Pokemon.
It has the highest win ratio out of all of these Pokemon. It's 1-0.
Xatu is weird.
it helped me block Stealth Rocks from Colossal that one time.
Yeah,
And otherwise, it was bad. It was 3 points, I'm pretty sure. Something like that.
something
Like
like that.
3 to 6 points. Very cheap.
Very
And I was
cheap.
like, might as well. As my only flying type, probably not smart.
Not smart, no. You did not have great ground resistance. Well, you did have Ogerpon, which was very good, but again, Ogerpon had other issues. Specifically on your team. Xatu is a Pokemon that I have like very high opinions of, just generally, just like in general, but I think
Power creep has gotten to the point where its stats are not cutting it.
no.
Sorry, False Swipe Gaming, Quagsire Theorem.
How is this viable in Ubers? Anyway.
I gotta know. How is this viable? Anyway, Cinccino.
So we
Pokemon
both
I
got
drafted-
Cinccino. Yeah, because I drafted it, I think. Like that was like half the reason you drafted it.
Well, no, yeah, and the other half was that I really wanted to use Cinccino. Not that it was like particularly good.
Did
here.
you ever bring it?
I prepped it once, and that was the one that I got a forfeit win.
Right. So you didn't bring it once.
No, I didn't bring it once.
Okay.
But I did realize something very important about Cinccino. It doesn't hit any steel types.
It has Focus
as-
Blast.
It has what is it called? Oh my gosh. Like smelling salts or wake up slap.
Oh my
one of
god.
those moves.
That's miserable.
So it can beat like I don't know, what's a steel type that's 4 times weak? Bastiodon.
Aggron.
That's not
I
gonna do
guess.
any damage to
It's not gonna
do
do
any damage to Aggron either.
Yeah, it's not gonna
Anyway.
do jack shit.
It can beat Alolan Sandslash.
Look, if you can deal with the fighting type, the steel type, then like Cinccino is obviously like very solid, but
I wonder how good a Cinccino Magnezone team would go.
Yeah, Magnezone is just the most awkward Pokemon to use.
Magnezone is definitely very awkward. But I like Cinccino. Cinccino was just kind of, I threw it in because I like it, and not synergistic with this team.
Not very. If anything, you needed another like a lot of things actually. Levani.
Unironically,
Oh,
Vivani did better than Cinccino.
No, it absolutely did. Right?
Yeah, it got brought once, and it was prepped the same week Cinccino was prepped.
Yeah.
Sticky Web, good move. Wouldn't you know it? That's what Leavanny is. It's Sticky Web
Yeah.
for 3 points or whatever.
3 points or like
No. I think Leavanny was like 2 or 3 points, and Zati was like 6 points. That
Yeah,
makes more sense.
something like
That
that.
makes a lot more sense.
Star of the
Sticky Web,
show.
good. It has triple axle. I have 4 Pokemon here with triple. No, 3. 3 Pokemon with triple axle here on this team.
No, 4. Cinccino.
4. You're right. 4. It was 4. I was correct the first
Yeah.
time. 4 Pokemon with triple axle on this team. If that's not the best team, I don't know what is. That's like 12 axles.
Yeah. Does Articuno get
Final-
triple axle?
It might. A lot of random ice types get triple axle. My Milotic has triple axle. I remember that
Yeah.
for some reason. I
My
always
Milotic-
imagine triple axle as like.
My
I
Milotic,
always imagine it as a. Oh, go ahead.
Milotic can definitely skate on ice. Absolutely.
I always imagine it as a kicking move. So that always made no
Because
sense.
it is. It is. It's like
It's an ice skating move.
yeah.
So I
You
imagine that you're just
you
hitting
jump
someone
and
as
you
you do the
spin,
triple axle.
yeah, like in their face. So like, I don't know.
Anyway,
And then
we
the star
have-
of the show.
the star of the show, Metacelix. It was brought twice. It did hit Iron Tail in that week 8 game. And
Honestly,
it also
okay, so I'm gonna say something blasphemous, and you're gonna hate me for this. I think you should have brought it more.
maybe I should have. No, unironically.
Yeah, no, I think you should have brought
Maybe.
it more.
Maybe I should have had a ground or a steel type in any of the matches I had.
So do you actually want to like talk about like Mega Steelix as a Pokemon?
Yeah, okay, so Mega Steelix as a Pokemon, it's not awful.
It's not. It
I
really
just put
isn't.
way too much pressure on it
Yeah.
for this team. I said, "Oh, I'll just grab this thing, and this will be my ground and my steel type," and that's too much for it. It has good bulk, of course, but it
Obviously.
can't really do a lot other than that in attack. It's very susceptible from the special side. You just have to have it in very specific positions.
And all of this is compacted with the fact that it doesn't have leftovers.
Yes, no item is massively a big deal on this thing.
Um,
Um,
Rest Hyobel almost worked that one time,
that one
and
time it almost worked.
I still think that Rest Hyobel is real, especially on Mega Steelix.
Yeah, I do think it. I do think
Um,
it's real. I also could have had a Wish Passer instead of Cincino.
mhm. I think that just a lot of this team has individually very strong Pokemon, obviously, but I think
It didn't really match together.
it didn't match together, and
It was
also Raging Bolt. You didn't know how to use Raging Bolt. um,
really like the best part was Ogerpon, Quaquaval, Salazzle.
yeah,
I'd take those three again together. The rest, leave out good say.
Raging
But
Bolt
it was
is
not an
nice.
amazingly
Yeah.
bold. Raging Bolt is good. I can't. I need to take a step back and be like, how do I make a good Pokemon this time?
Alright.
There's an okay. I did compare it to King Gambit, but specifically in Natural Dex, King Gambit has a
Knock
massive
off.
difference in that you can just click knock off every single time. You can't click Thunderbolt like that.
No.
Okay, let's go on to your team.
Alright. So my team. I didn't use nicknames. I'm sure that I just like threw on Frubblez as nicknames. Um, on the screen. But yeah, I don't use nicknames. I did nickname my Greninja Frubbles every week, and I also had to gender in male every week.
I'm pretty sure you nicknaming the Greninja was unnecessary.
It
One week I was like, "Oh, I think it might say Greninja Bond if you don't nickname it." I'm pretty sure I'm just completely wrong on that.
I'm like quite sure you are, but I just did it anyways, and I was like, okay, this is funny. So yeah, Perturbo misgendered Frubbles as a bit, you know? That looks good on my resume.
Looks
Um,
someone cut to black, cut to black. All right, want to talk about your first pick?
Alright, so I had to pick one. I was very hyped, but also I was very frustrated because I like planning a lot. Even if they don't work out, I still like planning. I find planning inherently fun. But pick one like is so awkward. So I was just very frustrated the entire time, but I mean it's pick one, I can't complain. So either way, I picked Dragapult because in my draft guide, I state multiple times, I think, that Dragapult is the best Pokemon in that deck's draft, Gen 9 and Gen 8. And I've never used Dragapult. So I decided at the start of the season, I decided a lot of things. One of the things was that I wanted to be fast. I wanted to be very fast this time because I really enjoy slow, bulky, offensive Pokemon. But I was like, I want to try something new. I want to get a fast Pokemon. I want to stop picking a Selgor for
I
its
want to run a
feature.
modest nature for
I want to
once.
run Modest Nature for once. So like all of that combined, I haven't used Dragapult despite calling it the best Pokemon in draft. I wanted something really fast. I got first pick, so
You had to put your money where your mouth was.
basically, so I picked Dragapult. It
And I think you did. You put your money where your mouth was.
so I did get obviously top seed, in pools. Unironically though, Dragapult was not the reason why I got top seed. I don't think it's it's definitely a part of it, obviously, but I don't think Dragapult is the main reason why I got top seed. I think Dragapult underperformed for me personally.
But even just existing from a prepping standpoint,
Yeah,
from just having a bailout Pokemon, it does so much work that's unnoticed that it just performing averagely more than enough.
I think it's performs sub average. I'd have to look at the actual results, but Dragapult was still very fun to use. It's very fast. Obviously, that's just it gives you so much lenience with what you can do, but at the same time, um, obviously this is a person who is like at the top 1%, complaining, right? Like it's such a privileged thing to complain about, but fucking nepo baby Dragapult. But
I mean, like it shoots its Nepo babies in its signature move.
using Dragapult gives you the feeling, and very often you are correct, that everything is out to get you, to get specifically you. And because of that, you have to play so fragile with it sometimes. And I definitely like psyched myself too much with it. I don't think I needed to treat it so fragile at a lot of the times. But maybe it's just because I'm used to using RBY Tauros. My mind just equated
I guess it is RBY Tauros
on my team. Yeah.
in comparison.
I was so forced into thinking of using it in a way that I had to treat it as my win condition all the time when I definitely didn't have to. And ironically, the one time that I didn't, which was the one time that like I just let it get paralyzed, I think it popped off that game.
Yeah.
So Dragapult,
It's your queen in chess. Use your queen.
yeah, don't save it. Use it.
Don't just leave your queen in the back because it's the best piece. Use it.
I I definitely have a lot to learn when it comes to using fast, strong Pokemon. Greninja though, I use Greninja very well. I think I use Greninja.
Greninja might be the MVP. MVP or Palmont, which we'll talk about, or Claude.
or
Actually, I don't know.
I think it's Claude, but anyway,
It might be Claude.
Greninja was very, 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 very good.
I don't think there's a single week Greninja underperformed.
No, Greninja at least performed on average every game. It was
Yeah.
so good. I did not understand. So first things first with Greninja, you're getting two Pokemon. That's number one.
Okay, you say that like you brought Battle Bond more than once.
I think I brought it twice.
You did? Okay, I don't remember that.
But the thing about Battle Bond, right, is that. So I say this about whenever I have to talk about Greninja, the first thing that I mention in draft is that you're getting two Pokemon. Both of those Pokemon are not worth 18 points or whatever points Greninja is, like 17 points. But the two combined is probably worth more than that.
Yeah.
And because of the mental strain that it puts on prepping. Even if they have similar answers, they need different like calcs to be a proper answer and like all sorts of stuff. So yeah, like I said, I ended up bringing Protean like 6 times and then Battle Bond like 2 times, like because forfeit. So like whatever. But even then, I think I could have used Battle Bond more. I could have drafted a team that made me use Battle Bond more. I could have drafted a team that made me use spikes more, which is something that I didn't get to do a lot, which I am upset about. I
know
think
what you used like every week?
Scarf
You brought
Ice Beam.
Sludge Wave.
I bought Sludge Wave and Ice Beam. That's all I brought. And then
Okay, but Ice Beam makes
is
sense.
standard,
Like
yeah.
the new buff, because Sludge Wave it didn't always have Sludge Wave, which is
It
weird
got
because
it-
it feels so natural.
it got
on
it Gen 9.
It got it at
Gen 9, yeah.
yes in the DLC specifically.
Mhm.
Like it didn't have it.
Before
at the
then,
beginning of the
it
gen.
used Gunk Shot to beat Clefairy. Sorry, Clefable. And as we saw, it beats fucking Tapu Fini.
Yeah. Also, Specs or Scarf makes sense because of the Protean nerf,
Mhm.
but it also just like shows you like, oh, this is a good set. Wow, maybe those guys in Ultra Sun and Moon OU were onto something when they just used Scarf Greninja every time.
With U-turn and fucking Rock Slide.
No, you were a Gen 7 OU player because you put the fear of Battle Bond in every single person and then just brought Scarf.
Yeah, and then I was just Scarf. I've never played Gen 7 OU, by the way. Not even once. And then here's Iron Crown, who is my Mega Steelix. We had shitty steals. That's our theme.
We had awful steel types. Oh my god.
Iron Crown is the most fraudulent Pokemon ever. It is not worth any of the points that it is costing. It has 0 moves. It gets no utility. All it does is either set up or bring AV and then just like tank hits kind of okay with its awful typing, awful steel psychic typing, and then just Volt Switch out.
This sure is a VGC Pokemon.
This sure is a VGC Pokemon. All I did that was remotely like... So, like I said in the previous video, I got this because I wanted the Fairy Killer. I saw Greninja and Dragapult, and you and I were both like, okay, so this team struggles with fairies.
Let's get
not.
Melmetal or Mega Mawile.
Or something like that. You know, something that just destroys fairies. And I was like, okay. I also wanted something like, you know, a decent bit slower. And like everything combined, at the time, this seemed like a perfect pick for me. And even now, if I were to go back and think about the things that I wanted in that moment, then yes, Iron Crown was the best choice that I had.
Well, not to mention one other very important factor.
What?
New Toy Syndrome.
Right. Yeah, New Toy Syndrome. God, this was a new Pokemon.
Yeah, so was Raging Bull.
Yeah. So I got it. It came three times, I think.
Yeah, like 3 times.
Yeah, like 3 times. I hate it. I'm never drafting this again.
It definitely could have worked on a team that is not this team, which
maybe
really
if I had a team that needed to kill, maybe if I had a team that wanted to kill fairies more, I would have liked it.
I think this team really thrived on utility. Like almost every Pokemon has some kind of utility that it brings, and Iron Crown just does nothing.
Mm-hmm. If it had Thunder Wave, I would have brought it like way more.
It had Thunder Wave, it had Stealth Rock, had
Body Press,
anything besides Tachyon, Cutter.
Yeah, and Psyshock, and Calm Mind, and Sworce Dance. So, my favorite Pokemon on this team, Clodsire. It is also possibly the Pokemon that I misuse most often.
I feel like Clodsire was responsible for your best wins and your worst blunders.
And my worst blunders. Everything, like, I'm like thinking back to all my like VOD reviews where I was like, okay, so that was a throw. Or like, oh, okay, well, I could have done that better. I think it's almost always me just letting Clodsire take 60% from a physical hit.
This thing is one of the most insane Pokemon ever. First of all, Unaware. Unaware in draft? Oh my gosh.
Unaware, so
like,
I had a theory, right? But coming into this draft, that Unaware is... Well, okay, everyone knows Unaware is broken, right? Like, that's just obvious. Unaware is broken. Mm-hmm. But especially what I thought was that Unaware plus Terra is possibly the best thing in draft. It is the single-handedly the best thing in draft that prevents you from losing. It doesn't win you the game, but it lets you not lose. And I think this definitely proved it.
Yes. And every time you did lose, it was because you threw it in the garbage.
Yeah. I think that Terraclad was the best decision I made in the entirety of this whole ordeal. It was so consistent. Terra Water is amazing. Terra Steel, I think I brought it like once, but like that once was still good. This thing just
There
does
was
so much. It sets hazards, it statuses, it deals chip damage, it recovers everything.
there's only one real critique I have for Terra Claude, and that's is you're losing your ground type, but you did have a secondary ground type, which
I had a
helped make
second
up for
ground
that.
time. I think Claude. I don't like know what else to say. Claude was amazing. I think Unaware is broken. I am happy that we have more Unaware Pokemon in the game. I think that is objectively a good thing. I just wish they weren't so overtuned.
I feel like it's mostly Dondozo.
It is
Like
mostly
Skeledirge, I like.
I like
I
Theodurge.
really like
I really
Skeledirge.
like
I
Theodurge.
really like Clodsire. I
I
think
think
Clefable is great. It's just Dondozo.
I Dondo. It's just Dondozo. You're right. Fuck Dondozo. How do they make a Pokemon that both singles players and doubles players hate? But for completely
like, they already
different
made-
reasons.
No, okay, you're right. Completely different reason. I was about to say like Fluttermane, but that's completely different reason.
Yeah, no.
Urshifu?
For completely different
Urshifu's
reasons.
actually different reasons.
Yeah. No, like Urshifu's ability is like the least concerning thing in singles.
Yeah. Fluttermane does the same thing in doubles and singles, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
But Urshifu does different things. Well, it does the same thing, but differently.
Yeah. But anyway,
Anyway.
Clodsire, amazing. Love Claude. Palmont, also amazing.
You know-
Love Palmont. This
Love
was like the
Palmont.
Pokemon that grew on me the most. Like I said, I just thought it was like a mildly cute design. Didn't think much of it. With Terra, this thing is really high value. I think it might even be like 14 points with Terra on a 20-point max.
Yeah, I could see that.
Without Terra, I think it doesn't drop below 10 ever. I think Revival Blessing is a dog shit move that has very niche cases. That is very niche cases. And it just gets every coverage move. I don't know why. I don't know why it has Seed Bomb. I don't know why it can beat Swampert.
It has Seed Bomb and Ice. It has Grass and Ice coverage.
Yeah,
As an electric.
as an electric. That's illegal.
That is illegal.
Um,
Someone called the police. It has Fire Punch as well, I think.
yeah, it has a Nuzzle.
It has
Um,
knockoff. Nuzzle? Nuzzle is the best move ever.
Yeah,
Like,
I should have clicked it
okay,
more.
actually, there's one move that I think is better than Nuzzle, and that's Glare. Glare is the best move ever because that hits ground types.
Yeah,
But also Nuzzle is the best move ever.
I think that Palmot is very, very good, but in a way that I think I could have used better. I think whenever I look, that's another thing with this team. I think every time I look at it, I'm like, oh, I could have done this better.
Yeah. This team has a lot of potential.
Mhm.
Palmot is definitely an untapped Pokemon. Another great thing about Palmot, 3 really good abilities.
Yeah. And I didn't use Natural Cure. Or at least I think I did once, and then it just didn't activate. But
It either didn't activate or that was the forfeit win week. It was one of those things.
It was one of those things. But I think I see like so much potential in all 3 of those abilities.
Yes, Volt Absorb we definitely used a ton with, like, even when you brought Terra Flying on occasion instead of Terra Electric.
Mhm.
That's really nice. Palmot's good. What
Palmot's
else
really
can you
good.
say?
I honestly didn't even use close combat all that much. I used like my elemental punches or like other shit way more than
And
close
Mach
combat.
Punch a lot.
Yeah, I used Mach Punch so much. Mach Punch was
Priority,
so good.
strong priority is good.
Yeah.
Like, even if it's like a small 1.2 times boost, it
It's like a
adds up because it's a
50
move that
yeah.
always goes first.
It's like a 50 base power move then, yeah? 48?
Yeah, 52.
Oh, 52.
48.
48.
Wait, no,
Something like
48. I
that.
think you're right on 48. Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Very good, man. Love you. I would use it again.
Starina. I feel like Starina just kind of came and did a thing. Like, I don't think this was disappointing.
Mhm.
It just was there.
I think it was still one of the better mons that I picked. Ended up picking. It's like middle of the road, but like I think out of the I had a very clear bias in this team for 5 Pokemon in particular. It was Dragapult, Greninja, Clodsire, Palmot, and Weezing. I had a very strong bias for these 5 Pokemon. So the 6th slot was always like way more, just matchup than matchup
Yeah, out
dependent.
of your 6 slot,
Yeah, I think
Serena
out of all
would
my
have
6 slot Pokemons, Serena was definitely my best one. And obviously Rapid Spin, U-turn synthesis, Drop Kick, which I ended up
used it
using.
defensively
Yeah,
pretty good.
yeah, I used it
Um,
defensively quite well. Um,
it sure is the grass type. Like, I need a fire, water, grass core. Well, that's a grass type.
honestly, it has so much more depth than I thought. Like as a Pokemon.
It just has way more coverage than your average grass type.
Mm-hmm. And
Like, go
somehow
ahead.
it 1v1s King Gambit every single time.
It 1v1s can Gambit every single time
Yeah,
until it Terra's flying
yeah, I
or something.
guess.
But if it doesn't Terra, yeah, it
Yeah, it
1v1s can Gambit every single time.
completely it King Gambit can't do anything to it. It's insane. Uh, I love it. I really liked Serena. I think Serena is also a Pokemon that I could use again, and then probably use even better. Cinccino, we both got Cinccino. Yeah,
I
that
think you
happened.
used Centino more than I did.
I think I used it
Yeah, I didn't bring
twice.
Centino once.
I think I bring Cinccino once as well. Wait, no, you didn't even bring it. So like, yeah, I used it more than
Yeah.
you. It sets up. That's about it. I didn't even bring it in the week that I didn't even bring it in the Golden Go week. Like, like,
Yeah.
it's such an awkward Pokemon to use, and I didn't really need a Pokemon. No, that's a bit mean. That's a bit mean to say because it's like my only physical setup sweeper other than Dragapult, and Dragapult's very, very matchup
Yeah.
reliant. But I guess so is Cinccino in a way. So
Yeah.
I think Cinccino was a much better pick on my team. I don't think there's a Pokemon that
Yes, I agree on
yeah,
that.
because you have so many physical attackers that boost. I didn't
Yeah.
have any of them. So I think Cinccino was a way better pick on my team. I just didn't end up ever using it like really
Yeah,
that
it
much.
still has that problem versus Steel that just
Yeah.
can't break. Its attack stat is not high enough for that.
Articuno.
All right. We got
I
it once it died.
It died. It was a very good sack though. I bullied this thing in that video way too hard. So I want to go into the story of Articuno a bit more.
You know
Um,
why it was a very good sack?
because they didn't
Because
bring
it
the
meant you
thing.
didn't sack. Oh no, I was gonna say it was a very good sack because it meant you didn't sack Claude Sire.
Okay.
Because the first thing I remember that back, you sent out Claude Sire, and you're like, wait a minute.
I don't have a move to hit this thing.
And you went right into Articuno.
Yeah. So the story behind Articuno is that so when you look at my speed stats, there's a very noticeable gap between Iron Crown and Serena in the 80ish range. And I wanted a Pokemon to fill that. I also at this point needed a fairy type, I needed a flying type, and I
Flying
needed a
type.
fire type. I did so I can't so there's no fire fairy. So it was either fire flying or fairy flying. Every single fairy flying was taken. And when I say every, I think it's just Togekiss.
Or an Enamorous.
Or yeah, and Enormous. All the fairy flyings were taken, and the fire flyings, which I actually could have taken, and I could have either taken Moltres or Rotom Wash. And both of those would have filled the speed tier. They're 90 and 86. They would have filled the speed tier. Like the
Did
ones.
you say Rotom Wash?
Sorry, Rotom Heat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That makes
Both
more sense.
Rotom Heat and Moltres would have filled this role perfectly. It was picked like right before this.
Oh yeah.
So I was very, very like at loss for what to do because I had like cornered myself into a position where I kept thinking I need a fire flying, and I couldn't take Talonflame because Talonflame is too fast. So I was like, okay, so fuck, am I gonna have to like drop a very important typing, or like am I gonna have to fill this like just leave this feature blank? That's not good. And then Frubblez, you told me to just get Articuno and then just get a fire type and then a fairy type. And I was like, okay. And so I did. And honestly, no, this one still sucks. I was gonna be like, this one had potential. No, this one sucks. Articuno sucks.
I'm like, did you see it win that regional? Your problem was not bringing specs with snow.
My problem was not bringing specs sheer cold. You are correct. Um, no, I think this Pokemon sucks. Um, moving on. Galar, this was one of my favorites.
Weezing is one of the most reliable physical checks ever.
Mhm.
Like, it doesn't do much other than delay you dying and put up an annoyance, but that's enough.
Especially on a team like this.
Exactly.
So I'm so fucking happy with Weezing Galar. I think Weezing Galar was excellent. So Weezing Galar taught me a couple of things. One, getting 2 poison types is really fucking good if one of them is immune to ground. 2 poison, it turns out, is really good. Again, with the asterisk that one of them is not weak to ground.
You did have a little bit of a psychic weakness. Like, we had a little bit
I
of
had a
trouble
tiny bit of a psychic weakness, yes, which was very odd.
Yeah,
but...
maybe it's because one of our only psychic resist was Iron Crown.
Yeah, it was very odd, but thankfully psychic weakness is a thing that like comes up like maybe twice at most. Another thing, Claude was specially defensive. Weezing was physically defensive. That's perfect. They also just filled roles so well. They both have a fuck ton of they both have like sorry, what's it called? Status. They both have status. Clossire sets hazards. Weezing removes them. Well, it also removes the ones that Clossire set, but that's not important. They were both incredibly effective stopgaps, which I think is so good. Like, especially on a team like this.
On this team, yes. I agree. Because this team thrived off of crippling the checks of your offensive Pokemon and then going in on them.
Something else that I think that I like kind of realized is that Steel weakness kind of fucking sucks.
The Steel weakness is rough, yes.
Somehow in what, like, I don't know how this happened, but being weak to Steel sucks. Yeah, a lot. It's like one of the worst offensive types in the game, but the moment you're weak to it, it's awful. It's so bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, there we go. That was it. And then last is Mega Camerupt. This was like so obviously fire type Mega Slot. Good mon. Like, genuinely.
This put in work.
Yeah, this put in work. This was my MVP 1 week. It got like 4 kills or something. It's deceptively bulky, again because of the HP investment that you're always gonna have. So this is like, I guess not relevant, but Sheer Force is my favorite ability. I think Sheer Force
is a great ability.
Sheer Force, not only is it a incredibly powerful ability that is not on any good Pokemon, except for, I think that Sheer Force is so fucking just funny. I find it funny for no reason.
It is funny.
It is, like, something about it is funny. I can't quite put my finger on it, but it is very funny. And I have a, like, somewhat of a goal, which is, like, I'm never gonna, like, I'm never drafting with the express purpose of doing this, but I do eventually want to use every single Sheer Force, every single fully evolved Sheer Force Pokemon. And I've actually done quite a bit. I drafted Kingler. Are
you telling me?
I drafted Tauros, I drafted Kingler, I drafted Darmanitan. I haven't drafted Nidoking yet. That's like a big one. I drafted Landorus Eye with Sheer Force legal. Like, I've drafted a lot of Sheer Force Pokemon.
Are you telling me that the next team is going to be Slowking plus the Titan?
Yeah, Soaking plus the Titan
Awesome.
and Squawkabilly. Um. So yeah, Bear Camera up, great Pokemon. It deals like about as much damage as non-choice specs Chiyu. Fire Ground is an amazing typing. Water is not a coverage type, so you end up having very consistent Pokemon that you can either beat or you cannot beat. Like, it is very consistent in that way.
Not to mention your other ground type had the fear of your opponent getting water absorbed.
Mm-hmm. Very, very good Pokemon. I
I think your team was really good.
I think I had a fantastic team. I think the only change I could make was on, obviously Iron Crown, and maybe Articuno, because, like I said, if Articuno changed, then a lot of other things change on this team. So, and I'm not sure if I like that. Um. So yeah, the only thing I would change is remove Iron Crown. That's really it. And then I guess I have to fill that speed with something else. So you know what? Maybe I do. Maybe my ideal version of this team is just Moltres and then another Steel type.
We will see. All right. I had a lot of fun this season,
I did as
but
well.
I guess I guess we'll see you next season, maybe on the off season.
Yeah, depending on how that goes. So this was great. I hope that you know, well, this was also really fun for us. Well, it was fun for me, you know, recording this every week.
I had fun.
Yeah. It was great. I also think I definitely improved as a player by doing this.
I think you did.
I don't know how much you improved, but maybe we'll see.
Okay. Okay. Video end.